Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about anxiety and how anxiety is created, okay? So let's talk about, there are two types of anxiety. Number one, real-time. Real-time anxiety. So what happens here is we're in this office, the fire alarm goes off. Okay, send a message down to my subconscious mind. Oh my God, this will be my language. There's a fire here. I'm in danger. Now, what will happen is my subconscious mind, after receiving that information, will generate an artificial hormone called a cortisol or adrenaline, which enables us to go into what is called survival mode. Okay, we all need it. It's healthy. We're in trouble. So we produce this artificial hormone so that we go into what is called fight or flight. Okay, a lot of you may have heard of that saying, but I'm going to write it down here. Okay, fight or flight. So we're either going to fight the fire or we're going to take flight and run away. Okay, so a message comes down that starts off a whole response. We start creating anxiety, we start becoming very strong. You know, you've seen people who pick up cars with babies and prams under them. That's because they've got this production of cortisol that's made them really, really strong. So we make the decision, do we run, do we stay and fight it, okay? And that is in every situation. I used to suffer from IBS. And again, what happens is the moment you start creating this anxiety, your stress levels start rising. They start flying up here. What happens is that our body, you know, when you feel anxious, you sometimes feel sick, or you need to go to the toilet, or you need to do a poo, or you sweat. All of those things are all highly stress related. But when your body is in fight or flight, it almost wants to clear everything through so you're light on your toes to run away. I used to suffer from so much anxiety that, you know, I was always, you know, I was anxious in going to a place where I didn't feel comfortable. I was anxious meeting maybe some new people. I was anxious learning a new sport. I had all of these different anxieties. I used to have major anxiety on a plane. I had a terrible fear of flying, of cars. Then it turned to trains. Then it became kind of OCD, which I had as a child, and then it's how it materialised, okay? So what happened is I was constantly with a bad stomach, constantly with diarrhoea, constantly on the toilet. That on its own then created a whole another level of anxiety, because then I was frightened to go out because of that. So now I don't have anxiety because I don't do stress. I don't, unless it's a healthy stress, because I manage my thinking. I'm in charge of my mind, and I control my mind, and I control patterns of thinking all of the time, okay? I've been doing this now for probably 7-8 years, so I'm obviously quite good at this. Hopefully I am. So what happens is that once our stress levels, we get out of danger, we go outside, stress levels come back down again, everything resumes back to normal. And that's sometimes when we feel very tired, very fatigued. We then want to eat sweets and things like that. So that's how stress happens. It's real time, it's happening now. We need for all of this to happen, all this biology to happen, in order to keep us alive. But what is happening in today's society, and this is the crux, this is the problem, we have all this anticipatory anxiety. And it's the anticipatory anxiety which is exactly the same as real time. Your subconscious mind does not think for itself. You keep sending in alarm bells, okay, your stress levels are going to keep rising, and then they're going to stay up there. They're not even going to come down. So just when we look at the world we live in now, we need a new set of skills. We haven't learnt this, okay? We've never had to deal with media now. So what happens is you're sitting there quite happily in your lounge, get a text from a boyfriend, girlfriend, something happens, message comes in, you know, a really nasty message. All of a sudden, all this emotion is generated. And then all of a sudden we're crying, we're angry, we're sad. So in our own homes, because of media, TV, radio, phones we're on constantly, iPads, everything else, what is happening is FaceTime, all the social media that goes with that, We are losing our critical faculties in how to manage our thoughts. Okay, we're being saturated with information because of the world that we live in today, which when I was young, I never had to have those skills. You know, if you had a fallout with a boyfriend, you'd either write a letter, and by which time a week later you've forgotten all about it. So this is now specifically because of the times and the world that we're in. We need a better understanding of how we are creating these emotions. So if we continue on with anticipatory anxiety, so I had a client in a few years ago. She came in for smoking, fabulous, I loved her, we're friends now, and she had a panic attack in Tesco's. So she said to me, okay Rita, so her daughter bought her, she's a very successful businesswoman, okay? Her daughter bought her because she started to build up this fear, this belief that going shopping or going out was scary. Because she'd had a panic attack in Tesco's, she wouldn't go shopping anymore. She avoided it. She was in fight or flight. She was taking flight, running away, because she had this overwhelming anxiety, this panic attack. She was so frightened that she then stopped going to Tesco's. Once I explained how all of this was and said to her, this is your mind, this is you saying, I hate Tesco's, I hate Tesco's, I hate Tesco's, and your subconscious mind, 90%, okay, is going to avoid it. In the same way with the child, with the burning of the iron, you're going to avoid it, it's going to hurt you. So understanding how powerful your mind is, understanding what language, what messages are coming into your mind, you know, what you're exposing your mind to, okay? So then once I teach you thought patterns that you have developed, we look at all your beliefs, or a big chunk of them. So I kind of break it down into 3 areas. I break it down into health, beliefs about health, beliefs about emotion, beliefs about work, employment and education. To me, these are 3 categories for someone to actually be fully functioning and having a great life and have great healthy beliefs in all 3 areas. And just popping back to my last client who had the fear of Tesco's, when she left me, she phoned me an hour later and she said, Rita, guess where I am? I said, you're in Tesco's. She said, bloody right I am. So she is straight back in there, belief gone, changed. All of a sudden, that's now changed her life. Now her daughter doesn't have to drive her anywhere and she's now got all this freedom. But she developed it through an emotional fear and wanting to protect herself. Okay, so I hope all that makes perfect sense. I'm trying to make this as simple as possible because when our stress levels are very high, you know, it's hard to retain information, it's hard to concentrate. You actually feel so helpless that you need someone to kind of drag you over and help you. So that's why I'm doing this on a free basis, so that you don't actually have to go anywhere to learn how to manage your mind, how to create healthy emotions, and how to behave and act in a healthy way. Lovely. So again, that should end the first video. I don't want to kind of put too much information into it because your concentration levels probably won't be so great. So next time I want to then talk about emotions, how they're created, okay? Anxiety, anticipatory anxiety, and why the modern world, why it affects us in the modern world. So listen, look forward to seeing you again. Hope you just join in, and I hope it's been helpful. You know what? And it's all about belief. Start believing in yourself. Okay, many thanks.